Okay, welcome to the spreadsheet. This is a user guide. I'm going to go for each tab individually, and this is what you'll see when you first load the spreadsheet. This is how the signals are generated. We've got three conditions, so three cells. For example, the Australian dollar versus the Canadian dollar. At the start of the day, it was a cell. The current ratio is a cell, and the shifting is 0, so that wouldn't be a signal. But we see the euro yen was a buy at the start of the day, is a buy now, and it's moved over 5%. Hence we had the signal, and we see it's done okay on the day. It's 0.11%. The average daily range on the euro yen is significantly more than that, so we can expect a little bit more uplift for the euro yen. This is your data tables, so we can ignore those, and time and date stamp. The spreadsheets we set twice a day, and that's how we get the shifting, is the movement of the past and the present. This is the snapshot data, and this is the current data, so we get a measurement across time, and that's the shifting. I've got dollar pairs down here, commodities, same logic, looking for blocks of colours. World indices, and there's my copyright there, and I've combined the dollar and yen pairs because they're quite popular, and we see, I'll talk about the bubble chart in a bit when we get there. That's down there, and we see New Zealand, the Australian dollar and the euro all in the strong buy quadrant. The USD Canadian and USD Swiss are sells. Dollar gold is mixed, and USD yen is mixed, and the pound USD is also mixed. So you're looking for these quadrants there. This chart here, the taller the column, the more of a seller it is. The smaller the column, the more of a buyer it is, because we want to do the opposite of the retail. Retail are very short the euro, and because we want to do the opposite, we would go long the euro. And this one's taking my interest here. This should fall the cable rate. Anything over 50%, that's the line that we're interested in. When it becomes below, and it's a buy. If it's above 50%, it's a sell. Same logic, euro yen is a buy, and we got the signal up there just to prove it. And it's moved 6% on the day. There is some stuff over here too. This is the neutral zone crossover signal. So that when it crosses the 50% line, which I referred to back there, then it will trigger here, and we'll know that there's an impending price change. So keep an eye on that. That's worth checking. This is just performance, physical performance on the baskets. Obviously, this is the sentiment here. So the taller the column, the more of a seller it is. The shorter the column, the more of a buy it is. We see the Swiss franc should do well. Pound is very overstretched. Then again, it's the 50% line that we're interested in. This is just a data that's for the bubble charts there. Live prices updated every 15 minutes. Futures we can see positive, so that would help our yen and Swiss franc analysis. I haven't implemented the pivot points yet. Ideally I want to do daily, weekly, monthly, but this is actually hourly pivot points, so I need to investigate that. And this is something else I'm going to implement as well, the volatility for the average daily range, the ADR. So we know, if we get the euro yen signal, like we have done, we would know the average daily range for that pair. But this is below average for sure, so we can exceed this. No problem. When it gets to 0.7%, then we're getting to the threshold of the average. Sentiment heat map. This is a new thing that I've devised. Anything over the 5% line, it's a buy. It's using the same data as the first tab, but it's expressed differently, so visually should be easier to see at a quick glance. Anything sticking out is a buy. Anything sticking out here is a sell. So this Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar might trigger. Same that there's the crude, which is the buy. If you saw my Twitter feed today, you would have seen that I did a crude oil analysis, and I only really ever post things on Twitter when I check the sentiment. So it looks good because I've got a high hit rate because of the sentiment. So if you check my Twitter feed, I always use sentiment for my analysis. So that's worth keeping an eye on. The WTI. Disclaimer. High risk warnings. This is the YouTube channel link. I've made a video how to understand it. Some links here. Technical chart patterns, and you can just look at them at your leisure. There is a question and answers there that will open a Word document online. Live news is explanatory. This is using the RSS feed. You can get some analysis here. These daily FX guys are really good, so that's why I've used them. If you're into cryptocurrencies, it covers that, and it does Forex and the majors too. And this is commodities, crude oil price analysis. Okay. This is manual data that I do every day, and we can see at high level, red is sell, green is buy. We go back to the euro again. So it's very much of a buy on them too. The pound yen is a sell. FX SSI, which is just a data dump, copy and paste from the website. See at a high level there, so you can look at that at your leisure. There's a sentiment bias, so you'd want to obviously just check the day prior. So let's say if we were buying oil, buy Friday, buy on Thursday, buy on Wednesday, but it was a sell on Tuesday. So at that point where it flipped over on Wednesday, you would have wanted to go long. So this is a good tab to check. This is just a graphical representation of that data. So we see if it's coming down all the way down here, it's a buy. Sticking up, it's a sell. Dollar Swiss, dollar yen, the pound yen, pound dollar. Yeah, anything in the middle is undecided. Calendar, there's the pound and euro and USD. I probably modified this so it looks a bit nicer, but it's all functional. It works okay. And this is a data dump from the FX SSI website. I've done a formula so we can check the synthetic SSI. So we're looking for blocks of red, pound, and we've got green here for the Swiss and green here for the yen. So it doesn't look particularly good for the pound. And how I've done this, I've actually written an article on LinkedIn. So connect with me there. And if you want, I can give you access if you want to get the guide how to make this. This is that data there, but in a vertical form. So anything sticking up, it's a sell. Anything sticking below 0% line, it's a buy. So we wouldn't particularly want to go buy pound, not when it's negative on all of those. I've done a video for this, so I'll refer you to that video, but essentially all you're looking for is these quadrants here, the bubbles. At the beginning of the day, they align on this axis, and over time they'll move, and we know what the retail are doing. If they go this way, it becomes more of a sell. If it comes this way, it becomes more of a buy. And we can obviously compare strong versus weak. The weak currencies will come up here, and the strong currencies will come down here. So if we see a large bubble up here, we know it can reduce in size. At the moment, USD is behaving okay. It could be a little bit smaller, but it's not a terrible size. If it was a lot larger, that would be a bit concerning. Anything up here is mixed. Anything down there is mixed. So worth keeping an eye on the euro. If it comes above that 50% line, it's mixed and it's no longer strong buy. As it stands, there isn't anything else that's a strong buy. But we've got strong sells, these two. But we're going into the weekend, so I'm reluctant to sell this USD. Same logic, that quadrant and that quadrant. Euro yen, that goes back to our signal on the first tab. Quite busy this one. I might change this, so I could keep it. It's just basically all the minor and major crosses. So we see that's a buy, the Kiwi versus the Australian dollar. And that's a buy, as we talked about. The taller the column, the more of a sell it is. We see the USD, quite a substantial sell there. The smaller the column, the more of a buy it is. We go back to the Swiss franc. Big spike here. Commodities, exactly the same. WTI. Brent is a sell. It's interesting, but not corresponding. Gold, that needs to come up here if you want to, if you're selling gold. At the moment it's mixed, so you'd wait for that to cross this line and then you'd sell. Same logic, taller the column, the more the sell. The Dow Jones buy, the Russell 2000 sell. That's interesting. Mixed and mixed. And the FTSE 100 is a buy too. It's actually moved. How much has it moved? 3%. So that's quite bullish. Anything over 5% is our signal. Same logic, don't need to talk about that. This is for going into the technical side of things now. Got technical setups, what's completed and what's emerging. So in the dollar Swiss, there's a bullish doji star on the weekly time frame. So that would indicate there's buying potential there technically, but not sentimentally. And you can look at that at your leisure. And there's a link here that tells you what these things mean. So if you're not familiar with what a bullish engulfing candle is, it will tell you there. Or you could ask me. Technical indicators, I've got like a heat map up here just to keep an eye on things. These are hourly technical analysis, so don't necessarily follow them blindly because it's only an hour. If they were daily or weekly, it'd be a lot stronger. And I'd separate it into low and high volatility. Buy for the euro, buy for the pound, buy for the dollar yen. They're not strong, so that's why they're not being coloured. Strong sell, the euro pound, so that's good. Bitcoin is skewing things, but that will settle down soon, so that will make this tab look a lot nicer. The same, it's dwarfed everything else. So once it comes down, it will sort of rationalize everything. But it's just so spiky. 222% for the half, 189% for the quarter, and 4% today. That's just bonkers. Well, Clark, I put this on because I'm on London time, as you can probably tell from my accent. But just to show you the working hours, I'll try and do 8 till 5, but I can work longer. Normally do. Just so you know. So where you are in the world, just look to London. That's my time, and then you can, calculate the difference in times. And historical data dump, that's from the main tab, and I've used this for backtesting purposes. So let's say if we get the buy signal and we can check that time and that date. At that time we got the buy signal, so we can backtest. And if we go to WTI, for example, where are we? Oh, where are we? Maybe I haven't included it. Is it XTI? But anyway, you can use this for backtesting purposes. There's so much data here. It goes on quite far. And if you want access to a read-only copy, just let me know, and I'll copy this, put it into a new spreadsheet, and I'll give you the link so you can just edit at your heart's content. But that covers the spreadsheet. There is a lot, but it's pretty decent. You'd use it for your technical analysis, and just because there is a signal that says buy, do your own prep work before. I've got a Telegram channel which I'll post. I've already done the Euro-Yen analysis, and it's above monthly pivot, and we use pivots for our bias. So obviously we'd buy above pivot and sell below the pivot. That covers it really. But thanks for watching, and that's quite a long video. But if you want access, just let me know, and have a good day. Cheers.